Hi, this is Eric from longboxreview.com. Welcome to the show. How are you? So I just wanted to take a look at the June advanced solicitations for a couple of reasons. The main one of which I'll get to towards the end of the episode, but I wanted to talk about the things from the various publishers that I saw that intrigued me or interested me in some way. So first up, I wanted to talk about some things from IDW. So IDW does the wonderful Star Trek series, and I think they do mention Star Trek Beyond, which comes out in July 2016, and so these are the things that will be out in June, or at least starting in June. And there are two Star Trek, they're calling them Countdown Collections, 2 volumes. The first of which is the collection that led up to the 2009 Star Trek movie, where we get introduced to Nero, that Romulan who changed the course of Star Trek history. Well, I guess really it was Spock that did it, but Nero furthered that change. So you get that, which actually was a pretty good story if you haven't read it and you're a fan of Star Trek. And then the second collection has to do with stuff going into or leading up to Star Trek Into Darkness. So they had a storyline in, I think it was in the main book. It wasn't a separate miniseries or anything like that. Or maybe I'm wrong about that. Maybe it was a miniseries about Khan. So, not sure. Anyway, and then finally you get the conclusion to the Legacy of Spock storyline. It's a 4-part series, or 4-part story. And I just read part 1 of that, and I have to say it. Poor Prime Spock is not getting the reception that you might think he would get. In fact, it's somewhat the opposite. So I feel kind of bad about that for the character. Also, they're releasing the Manifest Destiny collection for the Star Trek Manifest Destiny. I think it's a weekly thing that they're doing. I haven't received it yet, so I'm not sure how that story's going to go. But as with anything that's been going on with Star Trek at IDW, and with Mike Johnson involved in the writing, I'm sure it will be pretty good. There's also the new Ghostbusters. It's called Ghostbusters, The New Ghostbusters. This is written by Eric Burnham with Dan Schenning on art and Carlos Valenzuela on colors. But this is about the new Ghostbusters with the ties into the reboot, I guess. Movie, which also comes out in July 2016. I like the Ghostbusters movies. I'm intrigued to see what they're going to do with this reboot. I don't understand the backlash that I've heard about regarding the all-female cast, or at least the majority of the cast is female. I don't even know all that much about it other than that. And I like I said, I don't get it. So I'm really curious what kind of reaction there's going to be from fans of the movies and the comic book tie-in aspect of it, I guess. In other words, will this comic fail because there are so many people out there who can't get over the fact that women are playing those roles now? So mostly just for me, I'm just curious how that's going to go. It makes me almost want to buy it, just to help, I guess. I guess this new Ghostbusters thing. This is actually 104 pages. It's a trade. I wonder if so is this a direct movie tie-in? I don't know. I'm not quite sure based on the solicitation text. when I was going through the IDW stuff, I did notice, or when I saw this particular new number one comic, I had to stop because the title of it is called Action Man. So Action Man number one. This is by John Barbers, the writer. Paolo Villanelli is the artist, with Chris Heiss on colors. Action Man is dead. Long live Action Man, it says. He's the world's greatest special agent. Well, after Dick Grayson, of course, until he dies saving the planet. Oh, and James Bond, with all the world's eyes on him. Now, and this is what really got me, now his young protege has to step into the role whether he's ready or not. So, of course, I'm intrigued because you have the young protege, you know, a la Robin stepping into Batman's shoes, kind of an appeal, at least, you know, I'm taking it to mean that. You also have sort of a tie-in to The Kingsman, that movie just recently, and what was the name of the comic that was based on? That was, oh man, I've forgotten already. Secret Service, I think it was called. Yeah, The Secret Service by Mark Miller and Dave Gibbons. So anyway, I don't know. I don't think I've even heard of John Barber. I don't know who these creators are. I don't know, or I'm not familiar with their work. So I guess I have to see more about what this is before I decide if I want to get it. But it certainly intrigues me. It's something that I like, spy stories, and this whole protege aspect really has me interested in what this is. And finally, from IDW, Archangel. So issue number 2 of 5 is being advanced solicited here. This is the almost was movie turned into a comic book script from William Gibson, with Butch Guice on art and Tula Lotay doing colors. So I was going to wait for the trade on this one, especially now that I know it's just a 5-issue series, because when I read the solicitation text for issue number 1, it wasn't entirely clear to me that this was a limited series. But it's a new series or a new story from William Gibson, and so of course I am intrigued. Let's see here. Boom Studios has a new book from Charles Soule with art by Greg Scott and Sue Lee. This is called Strange Attractors. This is a limited series. It seems that Mr. Soule's limits have no bounds, because this book is, as it says here, he's crafted a mind-bending story about how chaos math kept New York City from collapsing under itself. Math. What can this guy not write about? And we get a crossover with Boom in the form of between Boom and DC Comics in the form of London Lumberjanes and Gotham Academy, and this is a 6-issue miniseries. So if you're a fan of Gotham Academy and Lumberjanes, which I've only read one issue of Gotham Academy, and that was the Robin War tie-in, and it seemed like a lot of fun. So there you go. You can cross comic book universal boundaries with this series. Not much in Boom for me, but moving on to Marvel, of course, you have Civil War II. This is the first issue of that series, written by Brian Michael Bendis with David Marquez on art. I think I'm going to skip this. This explosive first chapter in the comic event everyone in all caps will be talking about. Yeah. I usually like to get the Big Two's event books, just for the spectacle, just for the fun. But I think I'm going to sit this one out, at least in regards to the monthly issues. We'll see about the trade, depending on how things, what the response is, I guess. And of course, they're double shipping it. And they have a tie-in, Civil War II: Choosing Sides. That's also a 6-issue miniseries. and the X-Men of 4, Amazing Spider-Man of 4, Gods of War of 4. Good Lord, they're really throwing everything at us with Civil War 2. But I have to say, it is interesting that this time, however, Civil War 2's linchpins, the two sides seem to be Iron Man, Tony Stark, and Captain Marvel instead of Captain America. So I have to admit, I am a little intrigued about that. I don't know what to think about this. Vote Loki #1. I assume it's a one-shot, but it just says #1. Loki is many things: god, trickster, brother, liar, son, villain, even hero. Now he wants to add one more thing to the list: President of the United States. So I guess Marvel will make a tie-in to anything, including the presidential election? Anyway, interesting. Speaking of Loki, Mighty Thor #8. I just mentioned this because there is a new storyline starting called The Lords of Midgard. So if you haven't jumped on to Mighty Thor yet for some strange and unknown, unfathomable reason, now you can. Silver Surfer #6 is noteworthy only in the sense of that it is apparently the 200th Silver Surfer issue. Haven't read the series, but all I've heard is how good it is. Can I just say that Joelle Jones's covers for Mockingbird really makes me want to read that series. And speaking of getting me to read more Marvel series, Marvel is doing a new initiative. It's called Timely Comics. As it says here, they're the comics everyone is talking about. Now is your chance to hop on board before you get left in the dust. So it's a new imprint, reprints of the all-new, all-different Marvel titles. So it reprints the first 3 issues of these titles at the $3 price point. So if you wanted to catch up on, if you missed it like I have, Invincible Iron Man, Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur, what else? Web Warriors, and there's a host of other ones in here too. You know, your typical ones: Daredevil, Doctor Strange, Avengers. It's too bad they don't have International Iron Man. I kind of would have liked to have read that. But anyway, 3 stories or 3 issues for $3 for these comics. I wonder if they're going to. I can't imagine they're going to continue this, like they would reprint issues 4 through 6 of these at $3. I highly doubt that, but it'd be kind of neat, wouldn't it? So what we need is a reprint series a la Marvel Tales. You know, because that was one of the comics that got me into comics all those many moons ago. Moving on to the Star Wars franchise, Han Solo gets his own mini-series by Marjorie Liu and Mark Brooks on art. If you're a fan of Han Solo. And interestingly enough, speaking of Star Wars, the Force Awakens adaptation, which is a 5-issue miniseries, months after the movie. I don't understand that. Why did they not have this out at the time of the movie? Very strange choice. So there's a bunch of collections, trades, and whatnot. The first of which caught my eye was the Spider-Man Clone Saga Omnibus, Volume 1. So you get, 1,240 pages for $125 retail. So if you're a big fan of that whole Clone Saga thing, and who isn't really? Come on. Now's your chance. I only want to mention this because of this tagline here, or the title of this trade, this first volume trade of A-Force. It's called Hypertime. Doesn't somebody already kind of own that term? Some other company? Someone from the Distinguished Competition? Anyway, I just thought that was funny. Not funny, but really, really good is the Vision Volume 1, A Little Worse Than a Man. This is this spectacular, the phenomenal series written by Tom King with art by Gabriel Hernandez Walta. Man, if you've missed out on the monthly issues of this Vision comic, I really recommend you go buy this trade and you get the first 6 issues of this. I believe it's supposed to end at issue number 12 when, because Tom King is now a DC exclusive, but Marvel's allowing him to finish up this story. So what's going to happen with the Vision after this, I don't know, but I'm not really concerned about that at the moment because all I'm really loving is this particular story, and I can't wait to read the rest of it. I wish I had decided to wait for the trade on this, but if you were smart unlike me, now you can get it. It's the Infinity Entity trade paperback by Jim Starlin with Alan Davis and Ron Lim on the art. So this will collect the 4-issue, I think it's a weekly series. I think I've read the first issue. Anyway, I've gotten all the other Jim Starlin recent original graphic novels, if you will, involving Adam Warlock and the various cosmic characters that he's running into. But they decided to do this Infinity Entity series, and now, like I said, I wish I had just waited for the trade. I knew it was going to be in a trade, so I'm not sure why I decided to go ahead and get the singles, because now I've got the 2 or 3 OGNs that Starlin has done, and now I've got the continuing part of the story in single issues. So that was kind of dumb of me. Oh well. And to round out the Marvel entries here, we've got a prose novel, a Daredevil prose novel, Daredevil, the Man Without Fear. This is written by Paul Criley, adapted from the graphic novel by Frank Miller and John Romita Jr. So there you go. Why they are going with that, I'm not sure. Why that particular story and not something else? I don't know. I haven't read that Man Without Fear story, so I have no idea how good it is. I just know people have talked about it over the years, but really when they talk about Frank Miller's Daredevil, it's not that story that I hear them talking about. So, or at least it's not the first one that they're talking about. So interesting choice. Let me know if you read it. Holy crap, it's 300 pages for $25. Oh, it's a hardcover. Forgot to mention that. That's why it's $25. Okay, moving on to Image Comics, where we see the return of Jupiter's Legacy. This is volume 2. So we had the first volume of Jupiter's Legacy, and then we've had a couple prequel series, I guess, Jupiter's Circle, where we see these characters back when they were first in the world and doing things. And so we're kind of getting the back history, the backstory of these characters that were introduced in Jupiter's Legacy. So now we get the sequel to that first volume, and I'm really looking forward to reading that. It's a 5-issue series. If you don't know, it's by Mark Miller with art by Frank Quitely and Peter Daugherty. For fans of Howard Chaykin, and I used to count myself among you, but I just read some stuff by Chaykin recently that I don't know, I'm no longer enamored with him. But anyway, if you still are, there's a new miniseries by him called Midnight of the Soul. Yeah, and based on this description, I don't know, it just seems more like everything else I've read of Chaykin's. Anyway, so there you go. There's another book here by Rich Tommaso called She-Wolf. So it says say that 5 times fast. She-Wolf is a surreal exploration in horror as the story follows a teenage girl who believes she's been bitten by a savage werewolf. soon after she begins to experience feverish nightmares that seamlessly bleed into her everyday reality. Like I said, it sounds interesting to me, but it also sounds very familiar. So I guess I'll have to see what the art is like, especially before I decided to get something like this. If you listened to my favorites of 2015 episode, then you'll know that Lazarus was my favorite ongoing series from Image Comics, and probably overall, I'd have to say, out of everything that I read. And Lazarus number 22, there's a new story arc called Cull. Paper Girls number 6, this is by Brian K. Vaughan and Cliff Chang. New story arc, number 6. Says here, the smash hit ongoing series returns with a bold new direction as the characters find themselves launched from 1988 to a distant and terrifying future. So, where are we going with this? And are we abandoning the late 80s setting? Because that was kind of one of the things that drew me into this. This being Brian K. Vaughan, I'm sure that this is just the next step in the story, and I doubt he's abandoning the original concept. But I have to say, one part of me was thinking, has this series already jumped the shark? And if I had any sad trombone music, I'd play this right now, because Nowhere Men number 12, it's the end of this second volume of this great series. I know I've read one issue of this second series, maybe 2. Yeah, pretty sure I've read 2. I have to admit, it hasn't wowed me as much as those first 6 issues that I read a long time ago, but it's still an interesting story, and I want more of it, in other words, and I'm sad to see it ending for now. Hopefully this won't be the real end to this series. I think the last time I did one of these advanced solicitation examinations, I talked about how Huck was ending its monthly run, and that I'd soon be able to buy this Mark Miller, Raphael Albuquerque series in trade, and lo and behold, here it is, Huck Volume 1, collecting issues 1 through 6, so I'll be getting that. And also a series that I seriously considered buying monthly, and decided to wait on the trade as well for this, but Monstrous by Marjorie Liu with art by Sana Takeda. So I probably will be getting that as well. So Oni Press has a couple of things I wanted to highlight. The first of which is called Merry Men. It's by Robert Rohde, writing, with Jackie Lewis doing the art and Marissa Louise doing colors. So I'll just read the text, because better that way than me trying to summarize it. 13th century England, Robert Goodwinson, former lover of King Richard, lives with his band of merry men in Sherwood Forest, away from the watchful eye of Prince John, who has outlawed homosexuality. Though isolated, the men live in peace, that is, until a stranger approaches their camp asking for aid to a nearby town under siege by the Sheriff of Nottingham. Robert, nicknamed Robin, is reluctant to help, but equally eager to get rid of this perplexing stranger and to put his formidable bow and arrow to use. It's Robin Hood like you've never seen him before, based on scholarly speculation about what's really behind the outlaw's legend. Intriguing. I've never heard of that particular theory, I guess. But it's certainly intriguing. And who is this stranger that approaches the camp? Would that be Maid Marian? Anyway, I want to know more about this. And finally, for Oni, and finally for Six Gun, issue number 50, the end of this wonderful, great, fantastic story that should be a series of movies or a TV series or something. But at the very least, you can go read the trades if you can't find all the individual issues, as I did way back when. I sought those out because I really loved it. as does my good friend Travis, Mr. Oddfellow's Thoughts. He's the one that told me about it initially, and so I gave it a try. And man, I haven't been disappointed since. So the War for Creation and the Battle for the Six, meaning the Six Guns, concludes in this epic triple-sized finale. This is the end, it says. So this is triple-sized. It says 32 pages for $10. That can't be right. Even if you're a 20-page comic, triple-sized, that doesn't add up. But $10, it must be a 64-page thing. I'd have to guess. This must be a typo or something. Anyway, all right, let's talk about some Dark Horse stuff. There's a couple right off the bat here. There's a couple. One's a hardcover and one's a trade. The Alabaster, the Good, the Bad, and the Bird hardcover. This is by Caitlin Kiernan, who's the writer. And right there, I just want to get it. And this collects the 5-issue miniseries that Dark Horse has been putting out. Daniel Warren Johnson is the artist with Carlos Badilla on colors. It says here, there's a quote here from Neil Gaiman. Caitlin Kiernan is the poet and the bard of the wasted and the lost. That's high praise. Coming from Gaiman. Wow. I really want to try this out, but I think I'm gonna have to wait for the trade paperback. The other one is the trade called Elena by Kim W. Anderson, who does everything. I read the description and it really got me interested. Elena's life is a living hell. Since she arrived at a snobbish boarding school, she's been harassed every day by Philippa and the girls on the lacrosse team. Gotta watch out for those lacrosse teamers. But Elena's best friend Josephine is not going to accept that anymore. Not from the counselor or the principal, not from Philippa, and not from anyone else at that horrid school. If Elena does not fight back, then Josephine will take matters into her own hands. There's just one problem. Dun, dun, dun. Josephine has been dead for a year. Oh, it's a major motion picture. I missed that the first time through. So here's a description from the Stockholm Film Festival. So Elena has unsurprisingly been described as Let the Right One In meets Show Me Love set in a boarding school. Count on vengeance, violence, and broken teenage hearts. And I just kind of like the whole Josephine is dead bit. So I saw the title to this series. Yeah, it says ongoing series, and I immediately had to stop and take a look at it. Plus the cover looks kind of cool. This is Cryptocracy by Van Jensen and Pete Woods doing the art. For time beyond memory, the 9 families watched from the shadows, believing themselves shepherds and manipulating whole societies as they saw fit. Nothing happened that they didn't observe or control. Outsiders knew not of the families, much less threatened them. Until now. Says a blend of the X-Files and Marvel's AIM. Well, half of that's okay. Oh, this trade collection I seriously will have to think about getting. This is the Dark Horse Comics DC Comics Superman trade collection. It's the first ever collection of the Superman crossover stories. He fights aliens. So it is Superman versus Aliens volumes 1 and 2, and also Superman Tarzan Sons of the Jungle, and the Superman Madman Hullabaloo. Oh my God, Superman and Madman. So yeah, this is says over 400 pages of material. $25 for that. Yeah, I gotta seriously think about getting that. Way back when I had got the Batman versus Predator, the first limited series that I'm pretty sure Dark Horse did that too. And I knew of the Superman Aliens one, but I for some reason didn't get it. So now is my chance. Speaking of Tarzan, here is the Edgar Rice Burroughs Tarzan, the complete Joe Kubert years trade paperback. So you get over 600 pages for $30. Let's see here, reprints issues 207 to 235 of Kubert's 1970s Tarzan run. So if you're a fan of Kubert and you like Tarzan, this seems tailor-made for you, right? Fred Van Lente, I don't know how to pronounce this first name, but the last name is Villanova doing the art, and Mauricio Wallace doing colors. It's the artist, the Villanova. The first name of the Villanova artist is Guiu. So anyway, they are doing a miniseries, a 5-issue miniseries called Weird Detective. And it is, the streets of New York has been plagued by a pattern of crimes too weird and bizarre for the average detective. Oh, I think I remember hearing about this now. Lurking in the evidence are shadows of loathsome horrors from beyond space and time, seeking to usher in the unimaginable evil of the old ones. And the only man capable of fighting against the unspeakable terrors isn't a man at all. Detective Sebastian Green is one of them. It takes a monster to catch a monster. May just wait on the trade for that one. Okay, so now for DC Comics, and this is I will admit a major reason why I wanted to record this episode about the event Solicitations, because as I record this, it is Monday, March 28th, and today was when DC released those advanced solicitations, just a few days after their WonderCon announcement. Did you watch it? That was on Saturday of WonderCon, and DC Comics broadcast the panel live for people like me who couldn't go to WonderCon. You know, they wanted to get the word out, and so I sat there very excitedly as news was released about the DC Rebirth that's coming up, and then the first bit of stuff, the first detail, well, not really first, but a bigger collection of details, I'll say, of DC's Rebirth initiative has been released, and so I wanted to talk about that. But real brief, I really enjoyed that panel. It got me very excited about what they're trying to do. Not everything is perfect, of course. I noticed that there was a lot of white men doing these books again, and that was one of the complaints about the New 52 when it first started. So I hope I hope that they address that and get some different voices, not just the same old people. I mean, they do have some of that already going on with Rebirth stuff, but it's not enough, quite frankly. And but anyway, despite those things, I also appreciated there was after the WonderCon panel, there was a press only Q&A event that I read the coverage from Newsarama about. And one of the things that Dan DiDio said was that Rebirth is DC, quote, getting back on track. He said he realized things were really off the rails at New York Comic-Con in October, when not a single person asked a question about DC's stories. He said they did a panel with major talent and half the crowd left when they opened the floor to questions. Quote, there was a loss of connection that was palpable. So, you know, they talked about in this Q&A thing, and also I think they also mentioned this in the panel itself, you know, that they knew that things were not quite right, and this is their way of trying to correct the course, correct the ship, right the ship, or whatever that expression is. Other things to note, you know, they're doing relaunching a bunch of stuff at number ones, but they're also double shipping some of their major books. But also their everything is $2.99, including the DC Universe Rebirth #1 special. It's 80 pages, and they're selling that for $2.99. So this is the entry. So instead of doing, a 5 to 7 issue miniseries, introducing this new concept, if you will, they're doing this one shot. And it says here, it all begins here. Do not skip to the last page. Do not let a friend or message board ruin this comic for you. Here, here. The future and past of the DC Universe starts here. Don't say we didn't warn you. One of the things Jeff Johns said about this, Rebirth is about focusing in on the core of the character and their respective universe. It brings back what has been lost, the legacy of the characters, the love and the hope of the DCU. And, we won't know until we actually get into it, but man, do those words sound wonderful to me. Maybe I'm just that old core DC fan that the New 52 didn't really connect with me. I'm not a big fan either of, going backwards, even if it's painful, which is kind of how I feel about the New 52. But at the same time, there were some core things that were lost in translation with the New 52. And what Johns is saying is exactly those things that I've missed about the DC Universe. And I'm really hoping that we get that, but at the same time, not sacrificing what is new and refreshing, or could be new and refreshing about the DC Universe. But that really comes from not just the people who are currently involved or currently where we're being told they're involved, but bringing in, like I said earlier, bringing in fresh voices, different perspectives, and allowing those things to grow and find an audience. There has been some criticism that I've read about regarding Rebirth, about how they're trying to recapture the past, or at least bring us old guard back in by catering to us, and that only gets us so far. While I may appreciate it as one of those old guard, I think it's a limited way of thinking about the future of this universe that I care so much about. So who knows? Like I said, I'm excited about the possibilities, and I'm looking forward to seeing what actually becomes of this. Anyway, so moving on. So that's Rebirth. So we're all supposed to get that, and then we're supposed to read these other things. So there's a bunch of Rebirth one-shots that are coming out, and also that leads into some new #1s. So one of which is Superman #1. This is written by Peter J. Tomasi with art by Patrick Gleason and Mick Gray. So that team right there, sold. They have done wonderful work on Batman and Robin. Patrick Gleason and Mick Gray did a phenomenal job, at least initially, on Robin, Son of Batman. If I can't have that book, at least I get that team back together with Superman. Now, the only bad thing about this, well, I shouldn't say bad. The only thing that concerns me about this is that the news that the previous DC universe, the pre-Flashpoint universe, that Superman, who is currently appearing in the Superman Lois and Clark series by Dan Jurgens, and the artist whose name I am blanking on. Anyway, that Superman is going to be the Superman of the post-New 52 universe. I'm losing track of what to call the DCU. That kind of bugs me. I know that it seems like they've kind of painted themselves in a corner with the New 52 version of Superman, but I really hate the idea that they're just kind of giving up on him and replacing him in universe with the old version of Superman. Not that I have anything against the old Superman. I like that character. I like that he was married to Lois Lane. I like the stories that they were telling about him. and his wife and their relationship and his adventures. But at the same time, I don't know. Pandering, that's the word that's coming to my mind. They're pandering to some of us. Anyway, but it's a great creative team, so I will definitely try it. I don't know if they're a great team because I don't know that I've read anything by these two guys. Dan Jurgens and Patrick Zurcher are doing Action Comics, which now, of course, you probably already have heard. Action and Detective Comics are going back to their original numbering, and so Action Comics number 957 starts the new chapter in Action Comics with those creators. I'm really looking forward to seeing Patrick Zurcher do the art. I really like his stuff. Dan's a fine enough writer. I just don't know how these two will work together. But again, they're talking about, or at least the story here is intriguing because Superman returns to Metropolis, as it says, just in time to meet the city of tomorrow's newest protector, Lex Luthor. And on the cover, of course, Lex Luthor is wearing Superman armor with an S symbol on it, which, what? That's interesting. But it continues, but it's not long before these dueling titans meet someone unexpected, the new Clark Kent. So I heard, or I saw someone on Twitter say something along the lines of, this is how they put the outed Clark Kent Superman story that's been going on in the Superman books more recently, back in the bottle. The genie gets put back in the bottle because is this new Clark Kent, is that the New 52 version of Clark Kent? I can only guess that it is. So the New 52 Superman is now relegated to just being Clark Kent, which could be interesting if the focus of the book, the story, was on him, but it doesn't appear to be. He's now a supporting character. Anyway, Patrick Zurcher said that Superman is synonymous with the word superhero. He's the greatest. Drawing Action Comics fills me with a passion to make great comics. And he didn't even have to say that. I follow the guy on Twitter, and if you don't think that this guy has passion for comic books and art, boy, you're missing out on his viewpoints, and it's very entertaining and informative. Let's see here. Batman #1. This is written by Tom King with art by David Finch and also Michael Janin, I think. So they're, like I said, they're doing these twice monthly things, and one of the things they talked about was to do that, different artists will be doing different issues. So, and I wasn't quite clear of this. I might be getting this wrong, but I think that some issues will be drawn by David Finch and some will be done by Michael Janin. It does say, though, yeah, this one in particular, I was reading through all these advanced solicitations for DC, and I can't remember if I saw any other title say this, but Batman, it says, superstar artist David Finch returns to the Dark Knight alongside writer Tom King for this 5-part storyline. So is David off the book after 5 issues? I don't know. If he did the first 5 issues and then Michael Janin came on full time, I would not complain. But it's Tom King writing, so considering what I said about him with in regards to Vision, and of course he's doing the Sheriff of Babylon as well right now, and he co-wrote the wonderful Grayson. So yeah, I'll be getting this just because of Tom King, but the artists Michael Janin's involvement doesn't hurt. Nothing against Finch, I just like Janin better. Detective Comics, like I said, is going back to its old numbering, number 934. James Tynion is writing it with Eddie Barrows and Eber Ferreira on art. So interesting concept, I guess, but I'm not really sure that I'm on board with it. So there's a new big bad in Gotham, and Batman and teams up with Batwoman To train, it says here, to rally and train. Really? You have to rally the young guys? They're the young folks to help? I don't know. Okay, anyway. And train the young heroes of Gotham City to end this threat. So, spoiler, Red Robin and Cassandra Cain sporting a brand new look from the cover. And Clayface. So I think the whole Clayface looking for redemption, I think that comes from the Batwoman comic, if I remember correctly. I read the trade involving Ragman and Clayface and some other characters that she teamed up with, and Clayface, I think, lost his memory and was siding on, he was on the side of the Angels there for a while. So that'll be interesting. An old Batman villain. Well, I just realized we've seen this before, haven't we? Not with Clayface, but other characters. Anyway, interesting concept, but I don't know. I'm not a big fan of Tynan's work so far, but I was that way with Snyder too, and I kind of like him now. Yeah, new Aquaman written by Dan Abnett. If it's not written by Jeff Johns, I'm honestly not really interested. Flash Rebirth and the new Flash comic by Joshua Williamson. So I only mention this because, and I don't know Joshua Williamson. I don't know his history with writing comics. But the Flash has always been at the forefront of any new major change in the DC universe. So I'm kind of curious what this Flash Rebirth one shot is like. But I sincerely doubt I will be I will be getting the Flash series, because the Flash just does not interest me. Never really has. But what does interest me is Green Lantern, and more specifically the Green Lanterns book. Yes, I said that, plural. This is Simon Baz and Jessica Cruz doing some sort of team-up buddy cop thing, I guess. I'll be trying that out. It's written by Sam Humphries with art by Robson Roca. Although Jeff Johns is co-writing the Rebirth book with art by Ethan Van Sciver, which is, that's not bad. You get your Green Arrow. One of the things they talked about during the panel was you have Green Arrow meeting Black Canary. And also returning is Green Arrow's goatee, which I know will make a certain good friend of mine very happy. I have to say, though, one of the biggest announcements was Greg Rucka's return to Wonder Woman. And you have Liam Sharp and Nicholas Scott doing art on every other issue of the series. So Liam Sharp will be doing the present day story, and Nicholas Scott will be doing the an earlier story. I think they even called it Wonder Woman Year One or something like that. But yeah, I have to admit, man, when they announced Greg Rucka and he walked out on that panel stage, I was floored to see him back, and of course doing Wonder Woman, because his run with this character on that book has been one of my favorites of the last several years. Coming out of Titan's Hunt, written by Dan Abnett, is also Titans. So we get a Titans Rebirth. So I assume the Titans series that was talked about will be coming out in July, or at least starting in July. But you have this Titans Rebirth with Brett Booth doing the art with Norm Rapmund. So we get the old Titans, Donna, Arsenal, Garth, Lilith, Nightwing, and and if you haven't heard, Nightwing's back in the black and blue, which I was very pleased to hear. Even Jeff Johns said that too. He's like, he's got to be in blue. So yeah, pandering, I know, but I'm okay with that one. There's a warning on this Titans Rebirth. It says, don't read this until you read the DC Universe Rebirth one shot. Okay, moving away from DC Rebirth talk, here is the DC Superhero Girls Volume 1 Finals Crisis trade paperback. So this is that new, what do we call this? It's not an imprint. I'm not sure what to call this, but it's this new thing that they're doing with the superhero girls. There were a series of short videos that they put online, and it's a new marketing initiative, I guess is the best way to put it. But they've been putting out actual content. So on was it Cartoon Network or Boomerang? They actually have a cartoon. And I don't know if the cartoon is a collection of all the short online things that they did. Anyway, it looks really neat, and they now have a trade paperback. This has been written by Shea Fontana with art by Yancey Labatt. So $10 for that. I just like the idea. You know, it's all these female DC Comics characters who are at superhero high. With Principal Waller. Then we have the second volume of the Teen Titans Earth 1 by Jeff Lemire with art by Andy McDonald. Wow. I will get this just because I'm a big Teen Titans fan. I have to admit that first one was kind of rough to get through. It was okay. It was just okay. I mean, it was fine. It was, but it just wasn't. There wasn't like a spark there. It was a nice story to read. And if I wasn't getting it for as cheap as I did, I wouldn't have gotten it. I don't think, and I certainly wouldn't be getting this. Although it says $22.99 for this, that seems like an odd price for this kind of a book. Why isn't it $20? Why is it $23? Anyway. So even though they're already starting the DC Rebirth stuff, we have a couple issues of Justice League, not Justice League Rebirth, but Justice League to finish out, I guess, the story, even though Jeff Johns is not writing them. So Justice League 51 is actually written by Dan Jurgens with art by Paul Pelletier and Tony Cordos. And then issue 52 also, well, no, not also. 52 is written by Dan Abnett, with Paul Pelletier and Sandra Hope doing the art. So it's basically the postscript to the Darkseid War for issue 51, and then issue 52 it says a Titans Rebirth prelude. Set shortly after the formation of the Justice League, Batman introduces his new partner Robin, who is Dick Grayson, to the team just as it's pulled into a deadly assault on Metropolis by mysterious creatures. Outclassed and terrified, the Boy Wonder must use his wits and guile to survive, and in doing so he catches the attention of a foe that will alter the course of his life forever. Well, hell yeah. When I originally was looking at this, I just saw Justice League 52. Okay, so we're getting the end of the Justice League story. I didn't realize it was a Robin-centric story. I'm all for that. And Brian Hitch's Justice League of America continues with issue number 12 and the annual, although he is not doing the art. Tell you one of the things that I will certainly miss about what's being currently published now as opposed to what's coming out of DC Rebirth, Constantine the Hellblazer, issue number 13. Ming Doyle, this is written by Ming Doyle and James Tynion, as it has been. The art is by Eric Donovan, although Riley Rossmo has been doing a lot of that, and that's actually the art that I really love is Rossmo's work on this. And so there is a Hellblazer comic post Rebirth, but it's not by the same team, and that's just too bad because the folks involved with the Constantine the Hellblazer so far has been really, really good, and I've really enjoyed that book. For any Absolute fans out there, they're doing the Absolute Batman Year One, the classic Frank Miller, David Mazzucchelli examination of Batman's first year. This is from Batman number 404 to 407. Ooh, I love that story. I loved it in the original issues. I pull out the trade and read it every once in a while that I have. Absolute though, I don't know. $125 for 288 pages. But, you know, it's Batman Year One. Let's see here. Oh, this one caught my eye. Definitely $100 for this, but Batman the Brave and the Bold, the Bronze Age Omnibus hardcover. So you get collects the Brave and the Bold issue 87 through 122. So at the time of this recording, I am getting ready to go to Emerald City Comic Con 2016, and I have been fast and furiously updating my wish list, and a good run of the Brave and the Bold is now on my wish list. Then I'm hoping to buy a bunch of those while I'm in Emerald City. But man, I wouldn't have to do that if I bought this this omnibus. So it's over 1,000 pages. It's one thing I don't like about the omnibuses. I have 3 of the new Teen Titans omnibuses, and the gutter, the pages going into the spine area, those not well done. DC, I have to say, not well done. Makes it really hard to see what's in the crevice of the spine as you're looking at the pages. And if you're a fan, as I am now, of the Supergirl TV series, again, at the time of this recording, I watched the first 6 episodes with my family, and we love it. I can't wait to watch more of it. But you get the trade collection, it says Volume 1, of the Daring New Adventures of Supergirl. And so this collects the first 12 issues of the 1980s series by Paul Kupperberg and Joey Cavalieri, written by those guys, and with art by Carmine Infantino, Bob Oxner, and others. So I don't know. I never really read a lot of Supergirl comics when I was younger, nor now for that matter. But maybe I should get this. And then there's a bunch of Superman trades. I couldn't believe how many I saw here. So you got the Death of Superman new edition, funeral for a Friend, Reign of the Superman, Return of Superman, Doomsday. Yeah, just all this stuff involving Superman. I wonder why. Why are they doing all these trades of these classic stories? Is something up, or just coincidental? There's a DC Elseworlds Justice League collection where you get the League of Justice 1 through 2, Justice Riders, Elseworlds Finest 1 through 2, Elseworlds Finest Supergirl and Batgirl, and oddly enough, Wonder Woman Amazonia, and like I said, oddly enough, Titans Scissors Paper Stone. Oh, there's, speaking of Titans, New Teen Titans Volume 5 trade paperback, where you get the issues 28 through 34 and the annual number 2. Oh, of course, you get, here's the Wonder Woman by Greg Rucka Volume 1. So you get collects issues 195 to 205. Yeah, so that makes sense, Wonder Woman being in the Batman vs. Superman movie, Greg Rucka returning to the character. Yeah, this totally makes sense. So, and if you haven't read that, I highly recommend you do. Speaking of highly recommending you read the Sheriff of Babylon, Volume 1, Bang 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 trade paperback. This is the Tom King series with art by Mitch Gerards. So you get the first 6 issues of that. It's really good. Go read it. Okay, that's it for the advanced solicitations. But I did want to talk about some of the other series that were talked about during the Rebirth panel. So this is stuff starting out in July. So we have Hal Jordan and the Green Lantern Corps, written by Robert Venditti with art by Ethan Van Sciver and Rafa Sandoval. This is a twice monthly book. Oh man. You know, I would be okay. So I did tweet this out during or just after. No, it was during the panel. I said if DCB Service, who is the place that I get my comics from, if they have a special bundle for the DC stuff, I may go all in. I might be rethinking that now, but because this twice monthly thing is, I don't know. I have a hard time with that, even though it's $2.99. Anyway, you get Hal Jordan in the Green Lantern Corps, so you get and the cover here, Hal's back in the classic costume. So it's I guess the Green Lantern Corps as we expect. Ethan Van Sciver doesn't hurt though, but doing the art. Justice League is written by Brian Hitch with art by Tony Daniel and Fernando Passarin. That's also twice monthly. I actually like Tony Daniel's work. I'm not so sure about Brian Hitch's writing based on the Justice League of America book, but I'll try it out. So you get the classic lineup of Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Aquaman, Cyborg, and Flash with not one, but two Green Lanterns. So I mentioned before how Green Lanterns, the book, will feature Simon Baz and Jessica Cruz. Well, they're also in the Justice League. So interesting that DC is really pushing these two characters. It makes me wonder why. Is there a reason for this, or just happenstance? John's wanting to get these two characters in there for some reason. I don't know. But I will miss Jeff Johns definitely writing Justice League, because there's been a lot of detractors regarding that book, but I've loved it from day one. Like I said, Nightwing. No, I didn't. I did. I did talk about how Nightwing's back in the blue and black. His book is written by Tim Seeley, no Tom King, with art by Javi Fernandez and Marcus Toe, which that's great. Marcus Toe on there. I'm not familiar with Javi Fernandez's work, but Marcus Toe, definitely a good egg as far as the art goes. This is twice monthly. I don't understand that. What? As much as I love Nightwing, I don't understand why his book is twice monthly. Does it really sell that well? But anyway, here's the tagline. 3 words: better than Batman. What? Intriguing. Batgirl, which I thought for sure when DC Rebirth was announced and they were talking about relaunching a bunch of their books, I thought for sure the current Batgirl team would stay on the book, considering how well received it has been. But no, this is now written by Hope Larson with art by Raphael Albuquerque. And she's going across Asia doing some more training, I guess. I have to say, I'm not all that intrigued by that description, but the art looks pretty cool. Doubling down on Batgirl because we got Batgirl and the Birds of Prey. So we get Batgirl teaming up with Black Canary and Grayson's Helena Bertinelli, now looking like the new Huntress. I don't know that that's what they're calling her, but that's definitely what she looks like. And of course, the name of Helena Bertinelli. And so it does say, interesting. Oh, this is written by Julie Benson and Shauna Benson, who come from TV. I want to say, is it the 100 TV show? With art by Claire Rowe. So this is interesting because it says Barbara Gordon was once Oracle, but now there's someone else taking the name. I thought that just recently in recent issues of Batgirl that they essentially negated the fact that she was Oracle. Maybe I misheard that, but anyway. Ooh, the Black Canary costume looks really cool. I mean, it's pretty much what she's wearing now, but I don't know. It looks the blue shirt, or what do you call it? Is it? I don't know. I don't know fashion. the blue shirt part of it, it looks kind of cool underneath that black jacket. I mentioned the new Constantine book. This is called The Hellblazer, written by Simon Oliver with art by Moratat, teaming up with Swamp Thing in the book. I'll try it out, but I don't know. Like I said, I'll miss who is on the who's on the current book. Yeah, Red Hood and the Outlaws, Scott Lobdell, Dexter Soy. Okay, moving on. The new Superman book. Sorry, it's actually called New Superman. Written by Gene Yang with art by Victor Bogdanovich. So it says here, explore the city of tomorrow in Shanghai with new Superman Kanji Kang, a 17-year-old Chinese man who now has superpowers. And the image here that they show is this character holding the S sigil in his hands. So that's really interesting. I wonder what they're going to do with this, and what kind of lasting power does it have? Is these kind of books where they take derivative characters like this and try to go with them. I don't know. They never seem to work right or work for very long. At least in Superman's case. I mean, obviously it works great for Batman because they've got 40 million Batman characters and books, but okay, so Titans. This is written by Dan Abnett, art by Brett Booth. Yeah, boy, I love those characters. I like Dan Abnett writing, but oh man, I'm not a big fan of Brett Booth's art. But I'll try it out. And then it says in the fall, it doesn't say exactly when, so August onward, you have All-Star Batman. So this is the Scott Snyder Batman book with art by John Romita Jr., Sean Murphy, Jock, Tula Lotte, and Declan Shalvey, Afua Richardson, and Paul Pope. So a worldwide look at Batman's rogues gallery from the best in the business. And so one of the images here shows Mr. Freeze, Two-Face, Poison Ivy, Catwoman, and I think that's the Penguin there. Scott Snyder during the DC Rebirth panel did say something about making Two-Face as scary as the Joker or something along those lines. So we'll see. Cyborg continues. Really interestingly, I honestly thought for sure that the current Cyborg series would have been canceled by now. But that's good because he's an old favorite character of mine. So I'm glad to see that is not that my prediction did not come true. This is written by John Semper with art by Will Conrad and Paul Pelletier. This is twice monthly. I don't get that. Is there really an audience for a twice monthly Cyborg book? There must be, or they think there is. Deathstroke. This was I think the announcement of the writer of this book actually drew a gasp, not just from me, but from people in the audience of that panel. Christopher Priest is back. Well, back. I don't know. Did Christopher Priest? Yeah, he worked for DC at one point. Anyway, Christopher Priest will be writing Deathstroke with art by Carlo Pagulin. I know I'm not pronouncing that right. Igor Vitorino and Felipe Watanabe, twice monthly. It's interesting that they note the writer behind the longest run on Black Panther comes to DC's high-profile international villain. So that's, yeah. Harley Quinn, written by now DC exclusive Amanda Connor and Jimmy Palmiotti, with art by Chad Hardin and John Timms. That's twice monthly. That doesn't surprise me at all. Ew. So it says the awesome creative team continuing on with a book that's become DC's fourth tentpole in recent years. And I think John's even referred to Harley, maybe it was Dan DiDio, during that panel as the essentially the fourth major franchise or something. The Harley franchise. That's what it was. They referred to the Harley franchise. And anyway, so there you go. It says, "Forget Rebirth. This is Harley Quinn, Afterbirth." Jeez. Okay, Suicide Squad, written by Rob Williams with art by Jim Lee and Philip Tan. Wow. So I imagine they're doing that because, and that's twice monthly. And Jim Lee even said, he made quite a few jokes during this panel. I found him quite funny. But he even said that, well, how are they going to do that? How is he going to do it? He acknowledged his limitations here. But it's a twice monthly book. But it doesn't surprise me because, that'll be about the time that the Suicide Squad movie will be coming out. So this will have the team of Harley Quinn, Killer Croc, Katana, Rick Flag, Captain Boomerang, Deadshot, and more. So I might jump back on there to try that book out. Batman Beyond, written by Dan Jurgens with art by Bernard Chang. But interestingly enough, so the current Batman Beyond is a future version of Tim Drake. I hope that wasn't a spoiler for anybody. But Terry McGinnis returns to being Batman. But I thought he died in that new 52 Futures End or whatever it was series. Huh. Well, it's comics, kids. Everybody comes back, right? I was also pleased to see that Blue Beetle was coming back, written by Keith Giffen with art by Scott Collins. See, not a big fan of Collins' art, but I like the character and I like Giffen's work for the most part. But this is, so not only is it, so it's Jaime Reyes as Blue Beetle, but he's being mentored by Ted Kord. Ted Kord is back. So that's cool. Let's see here. Supergirl, written by Steve Orlando with Brian Ching on art. So if you look at the art, it looks very much like they're channeling the Supergirl TV series, which I'm okay with. Different costume, looks like Cat Grant there in the background. But interestingly enough, so they have the cyborg Superman character here, but it turns out that is her father. So, another super character, Superwoman. See, it looks to be like a brunette Superwoman here. Written and drawn by Phil Jimenez, which is right there, done. I'm buying it. Also art with Emanuela Lupacchino. So, mysterious new member of the Superman family in the wake of Clark and Lois's return to Metropolis. Doesn't look like Lois, but maybe? I don't know. Who is this? Also, another super book, Super Sons. So, this is teaming up Damian Wayne and John Kent. So, the alternate universe son of Superman. So, that's interesting. No other information, at least so far, on the creative team. Teen Titans by Ben Percy with art by John Boy Myers. Damian Wayne decides it's time that he leads the Teen Titans with a team of Kid Flash, the Wally West Kid Flash, Starfire, Beast Boy, and Raven. And I think somebody said during the panel that nobody wants him as leader. So, yeah. This book, I mean, it was rumored, but I was glad to see this. This is Trinity. So this is the team-up book of Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman, finally. Written and drawn by Francis Manapul with Clayman on art as well. It says Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman. Duh. Yeah, I really hope that they examine the relationship of these three characters, the interpersonal stuff between them, and not just be a bunch of adventures involving the three, the big three of the DC universe. Okay, and that's it. That's everything that I have to talk about regarding DC Rebirth. Just know that even though these advanced solicitations are out, as I said, it's March 28th that I'm recording this, there will be a special previews insert booklet that comes out on April 13th for the first solicitations involving DC Rebirth. So look out for that if you want to know more about what's coming up from DC Comics. So there you go. That is my look at the advanced solicitations for stuff coming out starting in June 2016. And before I go, I want to let you know that the Longbox Review podcast is a proud member of the Comics Podcast Network, where you can go to find a bunch of really fine comic book-based podcasts. So check them out. If you'd like to send me comments about this episode or anything else for that matter, you can do so by sending email to longboxreview@gmail.com. You can also hit me up on Twitter at longboxreview. I'd love to hear from you. Let me know what you think about this new stuff, especially the DC Rebirth stuff. I tell you what, there's a lot of fan reaction out there about it. A lot positive, a lot very negative, which I don't understand. You know, it's comics, kids. It's supposed to be fun. We should not be angry about this stuff. We shouldn't be, I don't know. I'm going to have fun, and that's all that really matters, right? So there you go. Anyway, let me know. I'd appreciate it. Otherwise, thanks for listening, and I will talk to you later.